guys, welcome to Recipes Tested. I'm Brianna Robinson, and today I'm going to be doing a Robinson recipe. I had an idea last night that I just thought was amazing, and I looked it up on Pinterest to see if anybody else has come up with anything like this. And this is going to be my lemon curd raspberry rolls. And what I'm going to be doing, because I'm not a recipe creator, I have only made cinnamon rolls one other time. So I'm going to be using that same dough recipe, which will be down in the description below. It's the Laura Vitale dough recipe. And I'm going to be using her lemon curd recipe as well, simply because I know most of her recipes turn out well. And I kind of feel excited. I feel like nerdy because this isn't something that I normally do. I don't normally get ideas like this, so I'm super excited to take you guys along with me. So if you want to see how this creation and this recipe turns out, just keep watching and I'll get testing.
So the first thing I got going on making was my dough. So I started with my yeast mixture and just did my normal sugar trick to get my yeast to activate pretty quickly. And once I set that aside, I got going on the actual dough component. So I added my milk and my sugar and salt, egg, melted butter, the stuff that's in the actual recipe. You'll see. But then I started adding in my flour and added my vanilla, the yeast mixture, and got going on making the actual dough. And I mixed that in a little bit at a time. I don't know why, that's just what it said to do. So I added in 1 more cup and then mixed that all in together. And once it was all mixed, it was really sticky. So I added in the final cup of flour and mixed that in until it got to kind of like a tacky texture. So I took it off my hook, kneaded it by hand for a little bit just to make it all one big ball, and then set it aside. In my oiled bowl, I covered it all over with the oil to make sure it didn't get like a skin, and let it set aside for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And while that was resting, I got going on making my lemon curd. So I zested 2 lemons and separated the yolks from 3 eggs, and then added in 2 whole eggs on top of that. And then after that, I added just a little bit of sugar and mixed that together. And after it was incorporated, the recipe says to mix it until it's like a light yellow, frothy kind of consistency and color. And I wasn't quite sure if I was doing it right. So I just kind of kept going until it felt good and I could see ribbons. But then I added in my zest, squeezed the juice of my zested lemons, and added in my melted butter, teeny bit of salt, and the lemon juice to the curd mixture and mix that all around. And this is a microwave recipe, and I'd never made lemon curd in my life before. So after the first couple of minutes of mixing every minute, it didn't really feel like much. So every minute I just kind of like made sure to lift the zest up from the bottom of the bowl, mix that around. But then after the 5th minute was when it started to kind of get really thick. So it's kind of like coagulating, kind of jelly-like. And so I was kind of hoping that that was what they wanted. It kind of smelled funny too. It kind of just smelled like eggs and like a bright lemon scent. It was kind of a funky little smell. But while that cooled, I got my dough out and I kind of plopped it down, and then I eyeballed the size about 1 inch bigger either way of my baking pan that I have over there. And then I got my lemon curd, which was cooled, and put on my curd on my dough. And I would use a ladle next time because this took way too long with the itty bitty spoon. And I would add a lot more because I think that it could use more lemon flavor. But once it was all done, I got my raspberries and just kind of plopped them all over. I didn't really have any rhyme or reason. I just want to make sure that every bit of my roll had a bite. And then I started rolling my rolls up and I wanted to make sure that my raspberries stayed in place when I rolled them up and I didn't just squeeze them all out to the top of my dough. So I just took my time and make sure to kind of lift my dough over the raspberries so that everything would be covered and everything would stay in place as much as possible. This will be messy, your hands will get dirty, but we have sinks and soap for a reason. So after my log was all rolled, I just cut it in half, and then I cut each half in half until I couldn't cut each half in half anymore. And that's just how I kind of eyeball and make sure that my rolls are done. And with the end pieces, I added more raspberries in and set them aside. And I did end up filling the 9x13 and then used an 8x8 as well so that they could rise and have room to rise again, because this does have to rise for another hour and a half or so. So I just covered those up and let them do their thing. And then I baked them according to the cinnamon dough recipe. And I also used the cinnamon or cream cheese glaze from the cinnamon dough recipe and just plopped that all over. And they smelled incredible and they looked amazing. And I was so proud. Look how pretty that is.
These are done. Finally, I am so excited to give it a taste, so I'm just gonna give it a taste and let you know if it's love at first bite. Ooh, I'm so proud. It's so light, and that's exactly what I wanted. I didn't want an overwhelming lemon flavor or an overwhelming raspberry flavor. They are just so perfectly paired. And I think that the cream cheese frosting is kind of a must. I think that it kind of needed a little bit of sweetness to counterbalance all of the tart from the lemon and the raspberries. This is a really good recipe, guys. Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of myself. The dough, it just works so well. And it's like, as it's kind of going through my taste buds, it's like I get a zing here of lemon and a zing here of raspberry. This is just really, really good. I think that I'm gonna have to be a little biased and give myself a 10 out of 10 because I really enjoy this. And I hope that you guys do too. If you guys wanna make this, I will leave the link to the recipes that I use down in the description below so you can make it too. And I really wanna know if you guys love it because I think that it's gonna be something that's such a labor of love and so worth it. So if you guys like this recipe, hit that subscribe button for me because that'll encourage me to keep creating my own. I had a lot of fun. And if you guys did too, give me a thumbs up and leave a comment down below with anything else that you guys want tested. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.